Hi, this is Fred Johnson. Welcome to Airailimages Video Magazine Number 8. I'll be your host. Take a look at these still photos from our collections. There's some good stuff in here. Motion picture pilots Paul Mantz and Frank Tallman pooled their resources to form Tallmantz Aviation at Southern California's Orange County Airport in 1961. Along with their movie flight operations, Tallmantz Aviation maintained a museum collection of aircraft, some of which were used in films. Here's a look at the Tallmantz ramp in September 1969. Filming of the aerial sequences for Catch-22 in Mexico was complete, and some of the fleet of 18 B-25s remained on the ramp. You'll recognize the B-25 called Berlin Express as the aircraft now in the Experimental Aircraft Association collection in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Mechanics can be seen working on the Catch-22 B-25 called Passionate Paulette. That aircraft later went to Grissom Air Museum in Indiana, and the classic white Tallmantz B-25 camera plane was reverted from the water-based camouflage it wore during the filming of Catch-22. A busily affable Frank Tallman paused long enough to chat beside the B-17 Balls of Fire that had flown in the movie Thousand Plane Raid the previous year. This B-17 later became part of Kermit Week's collection in Florida. An ex-F-85 Goblin experimental fighter was part of the static display collection. Inside, Paul Mantz's old Lockheed Orion was disassembled. It went to a museum in Switzerland. A SPAD fighter carcass awaited the magic of restoration. Seen in bold red and white wing stripes, this Tallmantz standard biplane was in many movies and many paint jobs. This Travel-Air biplane was a convenient stand-in for a Fokker D-7 in movie production. Paul Mantz flew this red P-51 in post-war air races. The Air Force wanted to learn in 1950 if incendiary ammunition would ignite fuel in a fuel tank purged of oxygen at 35,000 feet. Drone B-17G number 4483610 was fitted with specially mounted 50 caliber machine guns that were fixed to fire into the B-17's wings intentionally. The test took place at Eglin Air Force Base, Florida. Aviation gasoline was placed in the outboard Tokyo tanks of the drone B-17, and single rounds of incendiary ammunition were fired into the wing from the remotely controlled B-17. While damage to the wing was observed, it initially appeared that purging the tanks had rendered the incendiaries incapable of igniting the fuel. Not so, for minutes later the entire outboard left wing ripped from the B-17 as the remaining stub wing spewed flame. Testers concluded the third or fourth round of ammunition caused the fire because earlier rounds had opened holes in the tank that allowed air to enter, supporting subsequent combustion. Mothership for this test was 4485738, previously an Operation Crossroads B-17, and subsequently placed on display in Tulare, California. Here's some archival film footage from World War II that we think you'll find interesting. Take a look. One of the most chillingly authentic air-to-air combat images to come out of World War II in the Pacific is this photo showing a Mitsubishi Zero banking toward a 72nd Bomb Squadron B-17. The mission was to Shortland Harbor at Bougainville in late 1942. Co-pilot Joe Volmek took the photo of the inbound enemy fighter as the attack was in progress at about 18,000 feet. Imagine the adrenaline rush as Volmek could only watch the aerial drama unfolding outside his cockpit. For a few months in 1955 and 56, the Idaho Air National Guard flew Lockheed Starfire jets like this F-94B. In June 1980, the Boeing B&W replica moved out of the Museum of Flight's first location in the Seattle Center. The biplane returned to display in the museum's current home on Boeing Field. A DC-6 from Con Air took off and prepared to make a simulated fire retardant drop at the Abbotsford International Air Show in British Columbia in August 1977. Mike Carroll's Sea Fury racer with small bubble canopy was photographed at the Van Nuys, California airport in 1969. This Alaska Airlines Boeing 707 still used its former Pan Am registration number, N727PA, when photographed at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport on 12 July 1970. The 9th Fokker C-14 was converted to a white aerial ambulance as the Y-1C-15 in the early 1930s, as photographed by Alan Troop. Here's a U.S. Navy Pbm Mariner in typical World War II Atlantic camouflage with the high white sides and gray upper surfaces. Historian Steve Birdsall took this photo of the B-17 in the Air Force Museum's old location at Dayton in 1965. This DB-17 drone director later went to the Air Mobility Command Museum at Dover Air Force Base, Delaware, after Dover's museum director Mike Leister and his team restored the combat B-17 Shoo Shoo Baby for the museum at Wright-Patterson. Thanks for watching Airailimages Video Magazine. I'm Fred Johnson, and I'll see you next time.